Many of us have heard that there is something wrong with kids who hurt animals. Well, then surely there's something wrong with Red the Pokemon trainer. He's gotten hundreds of animals to fight each other. What's his problem? Well, as with Mario and Link, the most appropriate diagnosis for Red might be conduct disorder. This is when a person shows a repetitive and persistent pattern of behavior that violates the rights of others or other age-appropriate societal norms. There's a long list of criteria that go along with conduct disorder, so I'll list the ones that seem relevant to Red. Often initiates physical fights. Has used a weapon that can cause serious physical harm to others. Has been physically cruel to animals. Though Red isn't starting physical fights between himself and another person, he's starting fights between his Pokémon and other people's Pokémon. And some of these Pokémon are extremely dangerous, such as the 1,600-pound Steelix or the Scyther, which has swords for arms. He makes these animals fight until they lose consciousness. These Pokémon battles also seem to interfere with other aspects of Red's life, such as school. He's so busy fighting Pokémon that he doesn't attend school at all. Technically, a person could be diagnosed with conduct disorder with just the 3 criteria I mentioned above. At face value, Red meets criteria for this diagnosis and should join his Nintendo brethren in the conduct disorder club. However, as always, cultural factors need to be considered. For example, going to school doesn't seem to be very important to people in Kanto, which is where Red lives, and thus maybe fighting his Pokémon doesn't interfere with his schooling at all. It's difficult to determine if Pokémon battles are the cultural norm in Kanto, or if they're simply a tolerated but aberrant activity within a small sphere of people. For example, dogfights are common among dogfighters in the United States, but most of the general public would consider this inappropriate conduct. A clue that Pokemon battles are culturally appropriate in Kanto is manifested by the fact that there's Pokemon trainer gyms in each city. These are places where people train and fight their Pokemon. Now, these gyms aren't in darkened back alleys either. These are prominently displayed in the center of town. This tends to lead some credence to the idea that Pokemon battles are an accepted cultural activity there. Red is warned by Professor Oak at the beginning of his journeys that it's dangerous to leave the city as he could be attacked by wild Pokemon. It's because of this warning that Red gets involved in Pokemon training in the first place. It seems as if Red is involved in Pokemon training and battling not just out of personal enjoyment, but because it's a necessary form of protection from his environment. With all of these factors considered, Red does not meet criteria for conduct disorder. If he were to engage in these activities in my neighborhood, he probably would be, but it seems like what he's doing is culturally appropriate conduct for his own environment. Well, no diagnosis for Red so far, but he has another issue worth looking into. So please stay tuned and watch our next episode on Red, where we will talk about his apparent compulsion to catch 'em all.